Hello, it's Jimmy here at O'Reilly's. So I have here a Mercedes C-Class. It's come down from, I think it was Kent or Essex sort of area. It's had turbo underboost issues for over a year, in and out of the garages, and they can't solve the problem. It's had a lot of repairs done in the process and he's wasted lots of money, so he's come down to see me. Now hopefully I can sort it, especially when he's come all the way down, thinking I'm going to save his day, so hopefully we'll see what we can do. Get it plugged in and then go from there. Okay, we get the launch diagnostic plugged in, engine management light is on. Okay, we run a fault code scan, so we're just going to scan the entire car, see what fault codes we have, and just get this glove off so I can use the machine better. There we go. Right, Mercedes-Benz diagnostic. Do the enhanced version. Okay, now we're here, we just run a smart detection. It's going to go through all of the systems. There is usually a lot of different items here to go through on a Mercedes. So we've got 2 faults in the engine. Okay, scan is finished. CDI P0299FA. Boost pressure of the turbocharger is too low, and the P2463 soot content of the particle filter is not okay. So we've got 2 faults there. So P0299 on a Mercedes is most likely going to be a leaking boost hose from the, you got some on the left and right. This might be the newer model, it might not have those hoses, but they were very common for the intercooler hoses, the rubber hose or silicone hose splitting. So we're just going to have a little quick look, make sure the sensors are working first. Right, we've got live data up, we'll select all of those. Atmospheric pressure, exhaust pressure, don't know if we've got manifold, well we've got boost pressure there, manifold pressure. Yeah, we can see that's moving. If we graph all of that. I mean, the sensor is moving, but not very much, which would indicate a under boost, but at least we can see the sensor is on, it's not a dead sensor. Okay, now we're looking at the DPF. So we can see we've got sort of 14 millibars of pressure in the DPF. So we've got that on bar at the minute, but I'm trying to change it, but it's not changing. So yeah, these cars are quite sensitive. New Euro 6 cars, that shouldn't be any more than sort of 5 or 6 at max. So the DPF needs to be cleaned out. Fill level of the DPF is calculated to be 400%, so basically that just means it's 4 times over its limit of what it should be. So if we can find the boost leak first, then we can fix the DPF. So just to be clear, firstly we need to find why the boost is not working, and then if we can fix that, then we can fix the DPF. If we can't fix the boost fault, then we're not going to fix the DPF either, basically. Okay, here's the one I was using for my last car, and we're going to use it again on this Launch UK smoke leak tester. Okay, so we'll switch that on and we'll switch the smoke on. So first we're going to put that in the intake. That will pressure test all the boost hoses, make sure we haven't got any leaks. So you could have a boost leak, you could have a broken turbo, but we'll find out. So you can see we've got 2.5 psi of pressure in there, and we don't have any leaks. Okay, we'll take that back out. We don't have any boost leaks, which is not a good sign. Now I know you might think, why do I want it? I want it to be a boost leak, because if it's a boost leak, then it's likely going to be a cheaper fix for the customer and easier for me to do. If you don't have a boost leak, you could have sticking veins on the turbo or a broken turbo, basically. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm checking the boost, the vacuum going to the boost on the turbo. So I could see down there the solenoid for the turbo, just down there, it's not moving. We've got no vacuum, so we need to find why we've got no vacuum. We've got no vacuum here coming to the solenoid. This goes around to the splitter box over there. Okay, we're going to switch the smoke machine back on. And we're going to stick this in here, see if we can find any leaks in the vacuum hoses, basically. Right, we have smoke from over here. I've taken off the bolts to have a look at this. Looks like we've got a pipe missing here. We've got Tipex mark on it, which I don't know why, but there's a pipe missing from here, and we can't see where. There isn't a pipe that goes on there, unless there's supposed to be a bung on there. Some of these can have a bung, so this is like, you get vacuum coming in and you get the vacuum splits basically to different tubes. So either there's a tube missing or there's a bung missing from here. So we've got vacuum going into the box, but obviously it's not coming out, it's leaking there. Okay, I've looked. I can't see any pipes that have been left disconnected. There isn't anything there, so I'm going to assume that there should be a bung there. So I'm going to bung it off, and then we'll retest the car. So basically, I've just put a screw in it. So I don't know why someone's Tipex it. Something's been going on there. I'm not sure, but he's had a lot of work done trying to fix this problem. He's had. Someone said it would be the injector seal, so he's had all the injector seals done. Then that leak-off pipe broke in the process, so they replaced that. 2 boost pressure sensors. Sorry? So yeah, various sensors and all sorts of stuff he's had replaced to try and fix it. So obviously we found a leak there, so we'll retest the car now. Okay, so we've bunged it off. We've confirmed that it's no longer leaking. So now we're going to reconnect this. Well, actually, before we do that, we're going to confirm now that we have got vacuum there with our tester. So that's what you want to do. You want to make sure we're getting vacuum. Okay, that's connected. You can see there we've got vacuum. So if we connect it again, we'll see we're getting vacuum. So yeah, we've got vacuum there. Let's reconnect that to here. Okay, for now I'm going to clear the fault codes. And we'll go back to, oh no, we don't want to exit. What's happened there? Oh, I've had the ignition off for too long. Okay, we're going to test drive it. Make sure that we've got boost. Okay, so on the way down here, the customer's saying like 50 miles an hour maximum he could get out of it. Basically on the motorways, especially the hills, HGVs are passing him out. So he's not very happy, and he's been using the car like that for a year now. Because like he said to me, he's had it at the garage maybe 5 or 6 times. He's spent near enough $2,000 on trying to resolve why the turbo's not working. Surprisingly, no one's tried to take the turbo out. I've asked him, has anyone ripped the turbo out and had a look at it? No. But even worse, they haven't found that leak in the vacuum system, and they haven't even identified a vacuum leak or a vacuum issue. But they've replaced a lot of different sensors. Now, of course, we're going to do a little bit of a longer test drive just to make sure that we're not triggering off a low boost fault again. Okay, now that test drive obviously involves a lot of heavy revving, so we need to make sure that we're building up boost and that it's not triggering off boost. On a slow drive, you're not going to get a boost fault. Basically, you need to put your foot down to actually get it to trigger off. So now we're back. We've done a rescan on the car, and the fault code we have back is the P026300 for the particulate filter. So we're going to clean that out. If we come back to the boost pressures again, you can see there now we've got a massive change in the boost. It goes up to 1.7 bar, 1.8. We can see the boost is working now. We've got massive rises in these. They were barely moving before. Okay, we're going to get this airbox out so we can access the DPF. Take this off. And we can lift that up and we'll get the ECU off. Okay, so we'll get these 4 bolts off. And we can remove the ECU from the top. We've got a sensor here. Disconnect that. Put the ECU over there and get this out so we can access where the DPF is. Got a few bolts here, get those out. What else have we got? We've got another one here. To start the engine up, we'll just confirm that we've got the right side of the boost pressure hose. Sorry, DPF pressure hose. Change the over to millibars. There you go, 20 millibars. So we're going to clean through there. Oh, see the black soot coming out of that? Yeah. So we're going to use this. I've got this pre-mixed launch DPF fluid. So the customer is just saying to me that it's been to Mercedes, it's been to 3 different garages, then he's brought it to a Mercedes specialist to check this fault. He doesn't want to be on camera, but they've chucked all different sorts of sensors on it, and then what do you think their answer is? How do you think they offered, the 3 different garages have offered to fix this fault? And he's Mercedes specialist. They've offered to smash the DPF out and remap it, but his turbo isn't working. Now, like I say in my videos all the time, there's nothing wrong with his DPF. Even though I'm cleaning it, it just needs a little bit of a clean because it's been driven with no turbo. There's nothing wrong with his DPF. This DPF is going to be absolutely fine, and I'll show you that in a minute. You don't need to get a DPF delete. You don't need to rip your DPF out because you've got a turbo boost fault. I see it all the time. He's spent $2,000 already. He would have spent another $600-700 on doing that, and then that wouldn't have fixed his issue. Okay, our DPF gun is connected up. This is from Launch UK again. We're just going to spray that fluid in there. It's connected up at 120 psi, this gun, so it just gets the foam, gets the fluid and makes it into foam basically. Spray it down into the DPF there. Just going to hold the trigger on until all the fluid's gone. So instead of deleting these DPF, I fixed these boost leak, which didn't cost anything really, and I'm cleaning these DPF. And it's going to cost him half the money that it would have cost just to delete his DPF and still have an unworking turbo. The customers even said he was thinking about just getting rid of the car or scrapping it. But it's pretty simple diagnostics what I've done here. It's pretty basic stuff. You know, all these garages that he's been to should have known this. So if you are a garage and you're watching this, if you don't have a smoke machine, please get one. And you're going to build your own reputation up by finding problems like this and save your customer money. So instead of me saying let's try this, let's try that, let's try this, I found the boost leak for him, fixed it. Basically, if we didn't have the DPF issue, it wouldn't have cost him hardly anything, just my assessment fee to get this fixed. And that's why I always say I do my assessment first. That's another thing. I get asked all the time, oh, I've already got the codes, I know it's a DPF, the DPF spot, can you just clean it? No. I've got to do my assessment before I clean it, and 90% of the time it saves you money having my assessment done rather than me just going in, clean your DPF and saying goodbye. I don't want to do that. We want to check to make sure everything's working before we clean the DPF, and in this case it's just a prime example of that. Okay, that's all out. Now we're going to get it all connected back together. Okay, that's all that back together now. Okay, now we're back in the car. We just going to hold the revs up. We should see the pressure dropping down. What revs have we got it on? Just under 3000 RPM. Let's get up to 3000. It's hard to get it to stay in one place. So this fill level here, this is not going to drop, but obviously once we get the pressure down we can reset the DPF values, which will reset this one. What we want this to be sort of around about 6 millibars or less if we can. Okay, now we've ran the DPF cleaner through, we need to go to special functions, teach in process, and we need to find the DPF. Here we go. Replacement of the particulate filter. Okay, so we're gonna do that now. So we're down at 6 now, 6 pressure, 6.8 basically. Alright, so we need to turn the engine off and ignition on. Do a teach-in process. Now what that does is resets the fill level that's calculated. So you can only do that if you've cleaned the DPF. Alright, so we do that. There we go, we've got 0% now. And now we have 2 or 3 millibars of pressure in the DPF. So that's on bar, but if we convert that down, it's 3 millibars, 2 millibars of pressure. Perfect. Now we can clear that fault code and it should not come back. So if we now go back in and read the fault code, you see before if we clear the fault code, come back and read it, the block DPF message would come back on. Now that we've done the adaptions on the DPF, that will allow us to clear the fault code. Over here. There we go. So again, another quick test drive. That's it, test drive done. It's like a brand new car. Speed, power, massive increase. We've had even a better increase again after the DPF clean, so he's going to be very happy. So that's it, one happy customer. See you on our next video.